We are meeting today in a pale of gloom, enveloped by darkness. There is anguish writ large in our face. There is pain in our hearts. There is melancholy all round. That one who was very dear to us, one who was part of us, one who was the guiding light for young teachers and students alike, is no more. When the call of the yonder came on the 20th of April this month, he had fulfilled all his responsibilities, familial, social, institutional, and yet he had an unsatiating appetite to do more for the good of the community around. But the call of the divine, he had to respond, and therefore he terminated his life journey on that day. On the 21st of April, when the mortal remains were consigned to flames, an era of an individual would have come to an end. But the legacy that he has left behind, that we have inherited, is the way forward to guide us in our life sojourn as we carry on our responsibilities in this Mother Earth. The good Lord endowed him with almost 75 years of life. He did everything that was humanly possible, given his background, his family upbringing, that there was nothing left in the agenda for him to fulfill. And when the call came, it was as if the time has come that the Lord took him into his bosom, because he had more responsibilities of his to be filled up, both in life and death. That calm, that composure, that steadfastness, that steadiness remained undiminished. And yet, there is grief in the near and dear ones, the ones that who have worked with him and the ones who had known him during his long institutional teaching career of nearly 4 decades. When nothing has changed in that phase and only the breath has gone out, what is there to grieve? The Lord says in Bhagavad Gita as he started, Jatasya hi dhruvo mrityu, dhruvam janma mritasya cha, tasmat aparihartam, kim tum shochitum arasi. To every person born, death is certain. To every person who dies, rebirth is certain based on his karmic cycle. That being the certainty of life, what is there to grieve? Raja Bhartahari echoes the same thought when he says, Parvatini samsare, mritako va na jayate sajato, yasya jatena yati vamsham samannitam. In this transient world, who can escape the cycle of birth and death? But that life is worthwhile, which works for the upliftment of humanity as a whole. And these 75 years, each one of us will agree, were well spent, not just for himself, for the cause of the community around, of the profession that he had wedded himself to as a mission during his lifetime. Mere exposure to age, however prolonged it be, does not lend a greatness to any person. It's not in the number of years that we live, but how well we live will make the difference. A person may live a full 100 years, but still would have done nothing for himself or would not have pursued any lofty visions during his lifetime. They are all decrepit fossils which are tolerated only in the museums of the world. As the poet says, it's not like growing a tree in bulk that makes a man better be. We live in deeds and not in years. And by any standards, these 75 years that the good Lord had gifted to him were spent not only for the good of self, of course it is for self, and also for the good of the community and everyone around. Let me come to the cause of this evening's assembly. The cause of this evening's assembly is death. Death of a person that has brought people together. One to bemoan, grieve at the loss, and then to celebrate the life of that person. There is so much about death that the scriptures have given to us, and yet we have positions taken in life entirely different from what the scriptures say. The Lord again says in Bhagavad Gita, Vasamsi jirnani yada vihaya navani grinnati naroparani. Just as a person takes out a soiled cloth and wears a new one, So too is this ephemeral soul, which moves from a decayed body into a virgin body, fresh and to begin a new innings. So this transition of the soul from a body which is worn out, either with age or for any cause of accidents or death coming therefrom, and moving into a new one, a womb of a mother who is expecting, is all that is described as death. Acharya Rajneesh, Osho to his followers, said death is a beautiful experience. Contrary to the belief that death is the end of life, he said, as anyone thought, the other way around, it is also the beginning of life. Because one life is about to begin, because the soul is migrating into a fetus of a mother from where it will be born. When a child is born, it cries, but the world rejoices because the child has come. It cries because it has been separated from the womb of the mother. That biological affinity that was there together in the same body gets separated. That's why the child cries. And when the person passes away to the world beyond, he goes peacefully, he or she goes peacefully, but the world around cries. Good or bad of a person, still we cry, because we have lost a person whom we had seen. Adi Shankara in Bhajagovindam says, Punarapi Jananam, Punarapi Maranam, Punarapi Janani, Jatare Shayanam, he said. This cycle continues. Birth and death, from death back to the womb of the mother, and then it goes on. The final detachment comes only when you attain that emancipation, Nischala Tattvam. Then Jivan Mukti comes. If you come to a state of equanimity, where there is no more of desires or wants or likes or dislikes left over in you, then that state, if you remain for long, that will liberate you from the bondage of life and death. Kannadasan, the celebrated Tamil poet, said, Vandavarellam Tangi Vittal in the Mandil Namakku Idamedu, Varkai என்பது வியாபாரம். Translated, it says, if all people who descend onto this earth were to remain here, where is the place for the new ones which are coming in, and also the younger ones who have to see a new life? This entire business of life is, of this universe, is life and death, he said. That being the simplicity of the process, the osmosis of life and death, and yet there is palpable grief that is around when a person passes away. The only sole reason why people grieve is because of the absence of people of the like of Professor Venkataramani in the residual citizenry that they earn for a Markandeyan in him, a person who can never die. Markandeyan never dies in him. That's because the community does not have as many people of the class and the character of the person who has departed. And whenever he was around, you can lean on his shoulders to seek comfort and solace. He was like a cool breeze on a warm sunny day. He was a man on a mission mode, an educational mission mode, coming from an obscure, distant village from Tamil Nadu, in Mailadurai, where he started his schooling, and then came over to Trichy, which was a major city now, where he had his college education. Then saw the Mackina's gold in the city of Mumbai, the Mahalakshmi Kshetra, and came along to stake his fortunes over here. But he came here to study first. He came to IIT Mumbai. He also became an alumnus of the Mumbai University for some time, doing some certificate programs and others. And then he joined as a teacher in the Somaiya College of Art, Science and Commerce. By pure dint of devotion and hard work, he rose the ranks from an ordinary teacher to the vice principal of that college. And then he got elevated to the S.K. Somaiya College of Arts and Science as its principal. The professional perfection with which he used to teach mathematics, that complex subject which he broke down to simplicity for the students, and more importantly, the academic experience of administration that he gathered, one as the vice principal and later as the principal, were too rich enough not to be lost of, and therefore he came to the University of Mumbai as its registrar. But then he realized, principal of a college is quite different from the registrar of a university. You all will bear me out that the seat of VC, Pro-VC and Registrar in a government university, I call it as a state enacted legislation, is too hot. And the poor man experienced it. At the fag end of his term, he quickly did not lose his compose, but he came out and then started a new innings, gave the gift of his experience to Padma Shri D.V. Patil University, which needed some administrative and academic discipline at that point of time. Having had enough of it as a person in a professional career, he came to SIES, became a member of the society in 2015. In 2017, we formally inducted him into the council. He was elected as the Joint Honorary Secretary, and in 2022, he became the Secretary of the South Indian Education Society. In addition to his responsibilities in this institution, any institution that sought his service, Venkataramani was available at a call. The South Indian Association, don't believe those people are present over here. When they were foraying into health sciences, into physiotherapy, he was available to guide them. When they wanted to expand their College of Art, Science and Commerce, he was around to help them take those strong footprints that will take them forward. He was a member of the Higher Education Committee of the Bunts College over here, which had just started guiding that institution to find its respectable place, a deep imprint in the academic canvas of this city of Mumbai. Not only that, whenever he used to go as an inspector, an expert for NAC, beyond that inspection, assessment and grading of institutions, that rich counsel he used to give to those institutions, suggestions that you would give to them far beyond that NAC guidelines, will embellish those institutions and connect them permanently to him. He might have come as an inspector, but he will go back as a friend, a philosopher, a guide of that institution. This was the greatness of the man whom we are talking about. Valluvan says, the most outstanding element in a person is enthusiasm. Even when the going was tough for him in terms of health and other things, never lost his enthusiasm. And I was surprised when you came one day and told me, sir, don't dismiss me as unhealthy. I want to serve for a longer time. I was shocked. I said, who had thought that you are going to be signed off? But that enthusiasm, உடையர் எனப்படும் ஊக்கம், அதில்லாது உடையது உடையதோ மற்று. The greatest wealth that a person can possess in life is enthusiasm. What is the use of all the material wealth which is bereft of enthusiasm? Even at that age, he was enthusiasm personified. Valluvan again says, பிறப்போக்கும் எல்லா உயிருக்கும் சிறப்போவா செய்தொழிற் வெற்றுமையான். He says, all of us are born equal. There are no restrictions. A rich child born, poor child born, no, all are born equal. But distinctions are made on the basis of accomplishments. By those standards of evaluation, Professor Venkataramani is indeed a distinguished person who had spent his life for the good of his family, for the good of himself. The scriptures say, he alone lives who lives for others, who lives for his family, lives for his friends, and ensures that every constituency that comes within the reach of his influence, he addresses their needs. And that's what Venkataramani did all through his life. Statues and busts are required for ordinary little people who are ever in dread or fear of abortion of their counterfeit celebrity status. They never perish who live in the hearts of people. Even as they move away from the physical plane, they become deathless institutions from ordinary mortals. Their influence becomes the warp and the woof of the thoughts and the aspirations of the succeeding generations. They carve for themselves a niche in the rocky temple of reverential gratitude. To that eternal gratitude that the society around were to pay, Venkataramani belongs to that tribe. The South Indian Education Society was keenly looking forward to his services because the SIES University is on the anvil. The rich experience in the university we wanted to draw on as far as administration is concerned. But fate willed otherwise. But then all the work that he has done over these years will stand this institution in good stead as it starts a new innings in its higher learning portfolio as a university at the later part of this year or thereafter. But we will remember him at every stage when the SIES University Foundation is being laid, that he would have desired it to be like that. In our own way, we want to perpetuate his memory. And we are, subject of course to the approval of our council, will be setting up two endowments. One at the SIES High School and the other at the SIES Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam Memorial High School. These two endowments will carry an initial funding from the society of 5 lakhs each. It shall be augmented by further contributions also from all those people who had benefited from him, the community around here, and swell that corpus so that one child each from both those institutions will be given free education right from kindergarten through the schooling days, through the college days, into undergraduation, post-graduation, and even professional education. You might have moved from the seen to unseen. We shall see Professor Venkataramani in those two beneficiaries of these endowments, one a boy and one a girl. And remember that it was he who had given us what education is all about, and we would see all that in those two children who will grow with these institutions, whichever institutions they want to, fully funded and supported by the endowment in his honor and memory. I have always wondered, why is it that in a world which is broken down by vociferous elements, divisive elements have rocked the moral fabric of our society, time and again the ugly head of all unwanted things in life come up in every civilization, and yet noble men are born in those parts of the world which are ravaged by all those tendencies. I used to wonder why. Then I got the answer when the scripture said, Anavaptam avaptavyam nate kinchana vidyate lokanugra evaika etyastu janma karmana. Such persons are born into this earth only for lokanugraham, only to bless the world. Professor Venkataramani came onto this world. He blessed us during his living times. He will continue to bless us from the world abode beyond, wherever he is. His spirit will endure. His work will be the baggage that we will carry. All that he has taught will embellish our own work as we move forward. As I come to the end of my address, may the good Lord shed his grace on all of us. However much symbolism that we may attach to functions like this, where we mourn, we rejoice the life of a person, much beyond the symbolism, the true Shraddhanjali that we can pay to him is to follow the path that he trekked during his lifetime, espouse those values that were very dear to him, cherish those causes that he had patronized, supported, funded, gave his time, and that would be the best way to pay our tribute to him. May the good Lord bless us too, so that we can draw a leaf from the life of nobility of Professor Venkataramani and incorporate into our life through passage of time in our eternal quest in this pilgrimage of perfection a little of the selflessness, simplicity and seva that has been the hallmark of the life of Professor Venkataramani, and then make our lives sublime. Thank you and God bless.